The purpose of an introduction is to give the reader an indication of the subject matter that will be discussed in the main section of the essay. If you do not commence with an introduction, this is very confusing for the reader, as the reader will have no idea what the main topic of your essay is. You need to remember that this is the first time your reader will read your essay, and it should not be a guessing game of, I wonder what this essay is about. If you are unsure about what an introduction looks like, read the first few paragraphs in articles in a quality newspaper or in a journal article in your subject area. Do you know what the author is going to write about? Do you know what stance the article is following? Have you an idea about the main focus of the article? In most cases, the introduction should be written in the third person. For example, reflection is important for practitioners as this process enables staff to consider their actions and learn from best practice. There are different ways to commence an introduction. You could commence with a quotation, but if you do so, it should be a short quotation that is relevant to your subject and should be referenced correctly. Or you may use an opening sentence, such as the one I used earlier with reference to reflection. Try to use different approaches. Improving your essay writing is an important part of your developmental learning process at university. Do not repeat the question. The lecturer knows the question. She or he set the question. Rather, the introduction should give the reader your interpretation of the question. You may use references in your introduction to support your evidence, and remember to write a series of sentences in structured paragraphs. This slide is a blank pro forma for you to use to assist you in the planning of your essay. Many students say, I know what I want to put in my plan, but I do not know how to extend my ideas. Earlier in this vidcast, I explained that the main body is comprised of different ideas. Each of these ideas should be extended. If I continue the idea of reflection, although I have said that reflection is important, I have not explained why it is important. I could do this by defining what is meant by reflection or explaining why it is important. Then I could use a quotation. But be careful about the number of quotations you use in an essay. As you progress through university, it is expected that you paraphrase, i.e. that you explain the idea using your own words. If you do decide to occasionally use a quotation, then remember to use quotation marks and include the author, year, and where appropriate, the page number. In the case of reflection, you could give an example of how reflection is applied in your profession or how it has been used in a journal article. You should, where possible, use other research to reinforce your first sentence. You could also make some critical comments about your initial explanation about the importance of reflection. You could then refer to research which reinforces your main point. Again, remember when you are using other people's ideas, you must cite these references. If you do not do this, this is plagiarism. Finally, your last sentence in that paragraph should link to the next paragraph so that you are writing in flowing text rather than a series of stilted sentences. It is very important that you do not use the first person as in we or I or you. However, check with your lecturer when answering essays on reflection, as at times in those essays you may be expected to use the first person.